And are we live?
Yes, we are live.
We are live, episode 32. It's your show.
Yes. Why is it my show? It's our show.
Well, confession time. The three hurrahs. Oh God, Frank.
Listeners. Maybe we should change it into an English lesson.
Good. Let's
We'll do
teach
some
the.
grammar, vocabulary.
You're going to lose me here right away. Yeah. So we are episode 32 to the three listeners. Yes, I think I'm repeating myself already. No, as I confessed to you before, I've been knee deep in other stuff,
Yes.
actually deeper than knee deep. So um, I'm going to rely on my miraculous skills of improvisation to get through the next 60 odd minutes of the topic that you have chosen, which I think is very fitting for my current state of mind.
Yes, I think so too.
Maybe I'll learn something more from you. I always learn something from you. Um, but maybe today. Um, well, what are we going to talk about first of all?
Multitasking.
So, am I multitasking by listening to you and drinking my tea?
No, I don't think so. So what do you think is multitasking?
Um, do you know this Chinese acrobatic trick that they do? You have a person with six rods in his left hand and six rods in his right hand, and they're spinning plates on the top of these rods. Have you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That for me is multitasking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Having 12 plates spinning at the same time while you're drinking a Coca-Cola. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Or a cup of tea or something like that. Other colas are available.
Tea, coffee, gin, wine,
Beer.
beer.
Exactly. Yeah. So multitasking. I mean, it's one of these husband wife divides, especially in this household. Um, but it's actually, it's a hugely complex topic. I'm probably going to overanalyze it now. Um,
Go ahead.
but I think there is a space for. It may surprise you. I think multitasking actually does work. It's not a bad thing if you know how to do it properly.
I have to disagree with you on that.
Well, hang on. Are you?
I also multitask. I multitask every day. But I
Do,
I've Mm.
do you believe in it? I mean, you may do it because you have no options, but do you believe in it? I mean, are you a multitasker? Um,
um to be honest, not anymore. And the reason for that is I read an article, well, a couple of months ago, and in this article they actually did a study on multitasking. So the thing with multitasking is you have a lot of tasks that you do at the same time. So whether it's cooking dinner, sweeping the floor, while doing the laundry and watching TV,
Interesting.
trying to do all of these things at once.
Is this a typical day in your life? Is it?
Uh, Minus the TV. It's mostly on cartoons, and I don't follow them all the time. Um, but if we think about other tasks as well, maybe responding to emails, responding to WhatsApps, and then you are trying to create, let's say, a decent English lesson. And then there's 150 things up in the air that you work a little bit on this, a little bit on that. And what the study says was that multitasking is actually ineffective. The reason for that is you have so many things that you are busy with that you don't sit and you finish one task at a time, which would be more effective, according to the study.
And yeah, And
Yes.
fundamentally, that study is correct, I would
Yes.
say.
Yes. And I tried it. So usually when I look at my to-do list, I see 7 things that I can do at once.
Just okay. All right.
Maybe
Okay.
7, 6, 5. That's just an example. And then I would start with all of these different things in different places. And then I never get them done or finished completely. But when I sit down and I go down the to do list and I start with one topic and finish it, then it's done. Then the next one and the next one and the next one, which is more effective because then it's finished. It's not hanging in the air. It's not spinning on a plate.
Okay. So that sounds brilliant in the ideal world.
It does. It
And
does.
you obviously live in an ideal world
No, I don't.
because I was doing some work on the website this morning and I couldn't finish it because there were some complicated
Mhm.
things,
Situations.
situations. Um, so I've got two parts of this website work sort of hanging in the air. None of them are actually that dramatically urgent that we can proceed with this project, and we can follow up the other stuff later. Um, so it's two uncompleted blocks. Yeah. While I'm talking with you, my head is going bzzzt, as it always does.
Yes.
Um, and so I sometimes wonder if people, and maybe I'm one of these people mistake multitasking for something more akin to project management, where you move forward on the same thing at different speeds. And at some point, you hopefully come to a conclusion and the project is completed. Yeah. So maybe that's my mistake. So multitasking is, so I'm here now sitting with you talking. I've got my full concentration on this conversation on you.
Yes.
I'm not doing anything else except drinking a cup of tea.
Yes.
Um, and we will continue this until the conversation is over, and then I will attempt something else. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, so have I got multitasking wrong in my definition now, or have I got it right? So I've got these two things in the website that still have to be done, but they're not that urgent. I can do them in a couple of weeks, even. Well, actually, no, one of them I can't. But so in the meantime, I'm thinking about um, a few other things that just sort of just have happened, and thinking about lunch and dinner and weekend activities and so on. Um, and it could be that the washing machine is whirring upstairs. That maybe later, if I have to empty the washing machine, which I constantly forget to do because it's upstairs, not down here. And when I'm cooking, I'm feeding the cat maybe or having a glass of wine. So am I multitasking or am I just running around like a headless chicken?
um, I think it depends on the amount of time that you spend on each of those things, in my opinion. Because the washing machine, okay, I have to do the laundry, so let's put some clothes in the washing machine, switch it on, let it finish. You don't have to stand there for however long the cycle runs until it's finished to hang the clothes. So you start with something else. And then maybe you just get sidetracked and forget that you actually have laundry.
Story of my life. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I even forget to set the alarm to say, or write down it on a piece of paper because, I will be at the washing machine. I say, okay, write it on a piece of paper. So at such and such time, empty the washing machine. Yeah. And I will clearly forget that. Yeah. I will be so engrossed in
Yes.
doing something else that, I'll come up in the evening and think, oh, hang on. Because the thing is that, I come downstairs and I don't need to go upstairs until I want to go to bed. So upstairs is sort
Yes.
of like, you know, no go, not a no go area, but I just don't need to go up there.
Yes.
So maybe I should move the washing machine downstairs. But anyway, so I'm a little confused, and maybe that's
um, well, I think while you're cooking dinner and feeding the cats and having a glass of wine, in a sense, that is also multitasking, but I don't think that is as extreme.
oh, so you do extreme multitasking.
I think there's different kinds. I think you get extreme and then you get like slow or low. I don't know.
I didn't even know it came in categories. Okay, so can you give me an example out of your life in extreme multitasking?
In the mornings when I wake up and I have to take my son to school, that is extreme multitasking because I have to wake him up. I have to feed him breakfast, or not feed him exactly, but make sure that he has his breakfast, gets dressed, brushes his teeth, brushes his hair. I have to do the same, brush my teeth, my hair, get dressed. I have to pack his lunch. I pack it in the mornings. Um, then make sure he's wearing the right shoes or that his shoes is the right way around because it's still early. We are both a little bit tired. And then drive him to school. So I think that would be extreme multitasking because while I'm busy packing lunch, I'm shouting at him and get dressed, finish, brush your teeth, that kind of thing. And then in between, I also get dressed and brush my teeth and so on. I think that is extreme multitasking. And then the slower multitasking would be something like feeding the cats while cooking dinner, feeding the dogs while cooking dinner. Because there's also, you have to, let's say,
The
whatever you
two.
cook, you have to leave a little bit. You don't have to stand there the whole time, in my opinion. Just your attention is still there, but you are doing small things that you can finish in between cooking.
Okay, so getting back to your son, I see that as two sequence. It's two events happening in parallel, but there's a sequence. I don't see that as multitasking. Yeah, you gearing up your son to make sure he stays on track so that you can walk out the door on time, the two of you. Um, um, maybe I'm being really thick here. Well, probably am.
Well, I have to check on him about every 2 minutes because sometimes he will switch on the TV and then he gets distracted. So I will give him his breakfast to eat. In the mornings he sits on the couch. So when he wakes up, he gets out of bed, runs to the couch, and he will sit on the couch. So I usually lay out his clothes for him. He just has to get dressed, but then he gets distracted by the TV, and then maybe he would sit in his underwear for about 5 minutes until I shout at him, "You have to get dressed now." Um, and then he would put on his pants and then get distracted again. And then 1 minute later, I shout again, "Get dressed." Then he would put on his shirt.
I have the perfect cure for that.
Unplug the TV.
No, that's boring. That's
I know
boring.
that's boring. But that is why I have to check on him constantly when he's watching TV and getting ready for school.
No, in the middle of winter, when it's cold and rainy and gunky,
That's even worse than summer.
you just take him out the way he is, and he'll never do it again because A, he'll be shivering, B, he'll be so embarrassed, yeah, that the experience will be mortifying. Yeah. And you just take him to school in his underwear and see what happens.
So in winter he would sit under a blanket.
All
And
right.
then yeah. So
Mm.
that's even worse.
Okay. All
And then he
right.
will complain about the cold. And I told him, I'm going to take you to school just the way you are now. And then
And
he would get dressed very quickly.
ah,
Mm.
okay. Fair enough.
So I
Right.
don't have to actually do it, but just maybe
Okay.
tell him that's what I'm
So
going to do.
so let me tell you about my mornings, because that's a good way to start, and then we can sort of progress from there. So
Okay.
um, and maybe this is multitasking, I don't know. So I get up very early, as you know,
Yes.
and I go downstairs, and there's usually a handful of cats milling around wanting food.
Yes.
um, then I will make my coffee, and I will switch on the kettle to let the water boil.
Yes.
I grind my coffee, or maybe I don't grind my coffee, um, and try and make my coffee, feed the cats at the same time, and invariably the dishwasher has to be emptied because all the stuff from the day before is in there.
Yes.
So I actually can't um, proceed until I have emptied the dishwasher.
Okay.
And I'm getting really, um, I'm thinking of a polite word. I'm getting really obsessed. That's not the word I was thinking of, but I was getting really obsessed about the way I do. I empty the dishwasher. Yeah,
Okay.
this is this is the department of overthinking coming in. Okay, so there are certain things. So I set up a tray with my mother's stuff so she can take it upstairs later in the morning. And I try to take the items and not put them on the counter by the dishwasher or somewhere. I try to take the items and put them away immediately.
Yes.
While the kettle's boiling, the coffee has or has not been ground, and the cats have or have not been fed.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was getting myself into a knot. So I said, well, okay, why don't we set priorities? Because one wise word that you uttered a couple of months ago, priorities are the source of a lot of misunderstandings. So I thought, well, maybe the cats should have first priority. Get them fed, get them out of the way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then um, not switch on the kettle to boil the water while I'm emptying the dishwasher, because invariably the water will have boiled and I will be switching on the kettle
Yes.
3 or 4 times. But then drinking coffee, you have to let the water temperature cool a little bit down to about 95 degrees so you don't burn the coffee.
Yes.
Yeah. And we've got one of these fancy kettles, there's a little timer on this, so you can watch the temperature drop. Yeah. Um, um, and then you sort of start thinking, well, I can actually make the coffee while I'm emptying the dishwasher, but is it really such a good idea? So I will invariably empty the dishwasher first and then make my coffee and sit down and enjoy it.
Yes.
So, as the multitasking expert on this panel, what are your thoughts to my morning routine? Am I multitasking properly? Am I setting the right priorities? Am I doing it in the right sequence?
I would do it the same way. Feed the cats. They are happy. Unpack the dishwasher and then have coffee, because then you can sit down and calmly drink your coffee. You don't have to worry about the cats. You don't have to worry about the dishwasher. It's all done.
Okay. But you could do it in parallel, because
You
while while,
can,
while the
but
coffee is steepy, you can
yes.
actually empty the dishwasher, because and then you save time, and this is what multitasking is all about, isn't it? You want to save about
I think it
half a second of
feels
half a second
half a
of your life.
second.
Yeah.
I think it feels like you are saving time, but in actual fact, I don't think so.
Okay. What about work? Do you multitask when we're sort of hosting our sessions, or you're doing your own thing? I mean, are you
At the
are you
moment, I'm not multitasking.
you're giving our conversation the full concentration
Yes.
it's due it's due
Yes.
to it.
When I'm in a meeting, I try not to do anything else.
Not listen to
Uh,
the other person. Oh, we're going to have one of these sessions today. We're going to start multitasking and improvising because Janita has frozen. We've had one of these before. Um, and I've got her sitting on the screen with her index, no, her pointing finger underneath her on the bottom lip, pressing in. And she's staring into outer space, probably into her backyard. And I'm running out of things to say now because there's not actually much more to say. So could we multitask at this? Oh, she's disappeared. Okay. And
I don't know what happened.
well, you can read about it later because I did the expert improvisational multitasking while you were
Oh,
frozen.
well.
While you were frozen off the planet, I was giving the three listeners a running commentary of the picture that you had, which was like,
Oh, was it a serious look?
no, it was like a slightly gobsmacked look. You were looking from, I presume, into your backyard, your back garden. Anyway, but I've lost the thread. That's right. We were talking about
Me
work.
too.
We were talking about.
Oh, yes, about work. So during meetings, I try not to multitask. Um, but then if there's other tasks, then I multitask.
So,
Like this morning, just to give you an example, this morning I was a bit all over the place.
I had noticed that. Yes.
I made sure to export our invitation card and send it
Mhm.
to you. I did 2 articles of our meetings yesterday, Sarah and the lunch meeting.
So I'm going to read those later. Yeah.
Yes, yes, you
Okay.
can read those. They are
I,
published, they are ready.
okay. So I deliberately did not. You see, I was multitasking this side because they were actually on my list, but I thought, well, let's just not talk about. Let's just leave
It's
that.
done. It's done.
Leave that off the list because I don't want to put you under pressure. Yeah.
No, the pressure is gone. um, so with everything that we run it through, I had all the programs open um, while looking at pictures and reading through the articles. I had a fight with Puff because it didn't give me what I wanted. And then the fruit bowl was much more helpful than just Puff. So I got 2 very nice articles. They are posted in the pineapple, published, the works. But that was multitasking because I had basically everything open.
Mm.
And the worst part is, I know that I have to do these things, but yesterday um, we had the lunch meeting. I rushed to school to fetch my son, came back home, fed everyone lunch. Then I had another meeting. After the meeting, there was some time, but I don't know what happened to that time. Then I had another meeting, and after that meeting, I finished up with dinner. My husband started so kindly. So I finished dinner, and then we had dinner, took a shower, went to bed, and then I realized I forgot the articles. So I was contemplating, am I going to do them now? Will I do them in the morning? So I said, no, let's do them in the morning. So that's
You
what happened.
you once said that you love a structure, and if you
Yes.
don't have structure, you go all over the place.
Yes.
Um, and I can see that.
Yes. You're not supposed to admit it. But
I'm
yes,
not.
that
I'm
is
not.
one of
No, no,
my big
I,
problems.
no, no. I'm just merely stating what I'm observing. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I, and I'm not really, well, I think at the beginning of the week I got a little bit arsy about it, but I was having a bad day. Um, but the question is, if you are structured, do you actually need to multitask?
Um, I don't think so. I think it depends on the situation as well.
Dee-dee.
Because if no, if I have structure, like everything is falling into place now. Um, so in the mornings, I take my son to school and then I have time to go for a run. So the idea
Mm.
was to start this week, but that fall off the planet as well. Um, but after that, I go for my run, I come back home, I sit down and I plan my day. Or I do it the day before to know exactly which meetings I have at which times and what I'm going to talk about. That is important too. um, but if I do that,
Three listeners, she's frozen again. This time we have a different facial expression. She's still staring into space, so as if she's met somebody really good looking, um, and sort of saying, "Wow." It's this wow expression on her face. More I cannot say, except that we are having another one of these peeling potatoes episodes where you have to plan to be spontaneous because the internet connection in sunny, summery South Africa is not working. And maybe we should take a break and have a message from our sponsors. And now I'm going to speak to myself. Oh, no, she's back again. Right. I was just about to
this is one
take.
of those days.
Yeah, maybe your computer needs to multitask as well.
I think so too.
Anyways, I did just to prove that I did listen to you. Yeah, yeah, because I'm
Yes.
always constantly told that I don't listen by the powers that be higher up. Um, anyway, we were talking about you sit and plan your meetings, and so that you know what you're going
Yes.
to say and not say. You either do this in the morning, or possibly the day before. That's where you
Yes.
were.
Yes.
You may
Yes.
continue.
Um, so when I do this, I have a better structure, and then I know which times in between I have available to do different tasks. And
Mm.
then I can allocate those times to different tasks. Then I don't have to multitask.
Right.
But
So,
if I don't have that structure, I'm all over the place. I do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and then I remember, oh, I need to finish this and I need to finish that, and I have to do this and that and the other, and then it's just a big mess. Yes.
it it happens. Um, because that really brings me to why I actually believe in multitasking. Because if you are within the same frame, then multitasking makes sense. Yeah. So taking your morning routine, yeah, getting your son in a sense of that he's actually presentable and can walk out the door without embarrassing the entire family.
Yes.
Um, while you're getting yourself organized and have I think you've given up on the first cup of coffee until you get home because it kept getting cold.
Yes.
I vaguely remember
Yes.
that discussion a couple of months ago.
Yes.
Um, and then you set your own priorities. So you're within the frame of getting everything organized in the morning,
Yes.
and that is multitasking because certain things do happen or do not happen, and you've got to get to the goal.
Yes.
Um, but it would probably and it usually works, yeah, but it would completely go pear-shaped if while you're doing that you start cooking a 15-course banquet for for your birthday,
Yes.
um, which has no relation to the task at hand.
Yes.
And I think that's where multitasking becomes a little bit complicated, because as long as everything is related to each other or within the same time frame, yeah,
Yes.
then it works. And there I support it. Yeah.
Yes.
Everything else I would push um, into the realms of, you know,
Later.
no, into the realms of into be a Cheerio here, project management. Yeah,
Yes.
and
Okay.
I experienced this uh, on, what did I say, Friday, on Wednesday. So as you know, well, actually the story starts on Monday. So Monday morning, my wife had a regular appointment, a checkup appointment on her shoulder to see how we were
Yes.
progressing there. And when I picked her up, she told me we have to go to Hagenau, 30 kilometers south, because she's going to get I don't know what the English word is, a scintigraphy. So they basically scan her body to see whether she's still got CPRS. And
Almost
usually,
like an MRI scan.
possibly something like that, yeah.
Okay.
Um, and usually the waiting list there is about 6 to 8 weeks, if not longer.
Yes.
But the secretary to the surgeon must have phoned at the right time, because bingo, she got an appointment 2 days later.
Okay.
And I know this from my own experience and from her experience. Basically, it just kills the day. So I was none too
Yes.
pleased that um, my Wednesday was going to be slightly reprogrammed. Um, I can technically work from somewhere else.
Yes.
As you saw, I sent you a picture of my office for the day. Um,
Yes.
Bloody uncomfortable chairs. Um, and then
I
I
don't
and
know
then
why they make them so uncomfortable in the doctors or the hospital waiting areas.
I
It's
don't
terrible.
know exactly. Anyway, and then I had a meeting, and I went to the cafeteria, and I conducted the meeting from there, um, using my phone. That was okay. And then my wife said, "Can we go to the Turkish supermarket on the way home? Because there's a Turkish supermarket just down there. We were running low on all kinds of weird and wonderful stuff." I said, "Yeah, let's do that." And I really enjoyed it, because
Yes.
A, it reminded me of when we were in Istanbul a couple of months ago. B, it was just so totally different from everything else that day and that week.
Yes.
Um, and then we came home, and then I continued working. Very, very productive. So maybe that's just taking a step out of the routine and doing something totally different increases productivity.
Yes.
Um, and then the day finished. And I read an article years ago where somebody proposed to say, actually, you don't need 3 weeks holidays in one go. You can take little mini breaks, long weekends, yeah,
Yes.
and have a 3 or 4 day long weekend and go do something. I mean, it's hugely expensive, but he's in the bracket of people that can afford to do that.
Yes.
We can't. Um, and so you have a little 4 day weekend, and then you go work for 3 days, and you have a 2 day weekend, and you sort of mix and match your 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 life.
Yes.
Now, is that still life multitasking? Because I am in the privileged position that I can work from a hospital waiting room. And you got the raw end of my work, yeah. Because the technology was there, I could send you all the WhatsApps giving you an update of what I was
I
working
don't
on.
think that is multitasking. I think that is either priorities or responsibility.
So I was acting irresponsibly by going to the supermarket during working hours.
No, no. You were irresponsible enough to continue working while being in a different place.
Thank you, boss.
And then taking a short break to go shopping, which is fine.
Which is fine. You approve, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was just thinking about this long weekend and holiday thing. Um, I don't know if it's the same in other countries, but here, if you plan a long weekend away, it will cost you almost the same as going away for a week or 2 weeks
Mm,
holiday.
yeah.
And sometimes that doesn't make sense to me. So that's why we take longer vacations instead of just a weekend away.
Yeah, well, that's well, we have the same problem. We have the same problem. Yeah. Um, so you go away for a long weekend break. Okay, so
Yes.
now Europe, we have a few things here which are unavailable in other areas, because we have the infrastructure, we have the pricing. So we
Yes.
have this wonderful horrible thing called Ryanair, which is a budget airline, um,
Yes.
and they can, it's like a bus on with wings. Yeah,
Okay.
you used to be able to fly from A to B at ridiculously low rates.
Yes.
In some cases, I remember when I did this 20 years ago, there were some there were some flights that were actually free.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I got it. The outbound flight was free, and the return flight was, you know, whatever. Unfortunately, that kind of has been discontinued for reasons I cannot understand. But there you go.
Okay.
So you can, okay, so the incomes are high. You can, if you have a good disposable income, fly away to let,
Where?
let, let's say, it's Friday morning. You could hop on a plane, fly to Rome, and then fly
Yes.
back Monday morning or Sunday night,
Yes.
and then you have the cost of the flight, which might be actually negligible in comparison.
Yes.
But then you've got to stay somewhere.
Yes.
You've got to eat.
Yes.
You've got to do stuff that's going to cost money.
Yes.
So before you know it, your 3 day happy holiday in Rome would have cost you the same as 2 weeks somewhere on the Mediterranean coast in Northern Africa.
Yes.
Um, um, it does not make sense. Uh,
Yes.
Except, of course, you are the hotel operator charging the roof, and you're the restaurant operator charging the roof plus one, etc. Um,
Yes.
so the economics may not make sense. But there's
Mm.
another thing that doesn't make sense, that if you're away for a week, you can actually relax more
Yes.
and hone on your multitasking skills, like building a sand castle and finding out where you're going to get dinner from and enjoying the sunshine and
While eating our ice cream.
while eating an ice cream. Yeah. So that's positive multitasking.
Yes. Yes.
Um, which I think is really interesting because normally we associate multitasking with chores and negative stuff.
Mm. I think so too.
So we could actually introduce the concept of positive multitasking.
It's a good idea.
Shall we patent it before someone else gets this idea?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Um, so I think we're wandering off the topic a little bit, but I'm also hugely confused. So yes. Um, and maybe it's also a question of what you're looking for, because if you're just looking for a change of wallpaper or change of scenery, then a 3 day trip to Rome
Yes.
um, would be good. But again, we can do this in Europe because you just have to, I just have to drive 10 kilometers and it's totally different. They speak a different language. They do things differently. They are different. They're just weird, the Germans. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, and then I come back here and everything's normal. Yeah. And I can drive 2 hours south, 2.5 hours south, and I will be in an even stranger country called Switzerland. Yeah. Where they do things totally different and they are even richer
Yes.
than the rest of us put together. Yeah. Um, drive 2 hours from where you live, and it ain't much different. I think. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm sorry to have to say this to you, but she would be so sad. Yeah.
No,
Anyway,
no, I'm not sad. I'm just thinking about the expenses.
yeah, yeah, holidays are expensive. Yeah. So maybe we should
Mm.
ban holidays and just work 24/7,
No,
365.
I disagree.
You disagree.
We
Well, we
need
could,
more holidays, but we need cheaper ways to have them, or
yes,
even long weekends.
yes. Well, we're self-employed. We can, do this.
We
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. Okay. So it's Friday morning. Um, um, the weekend is ahead. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing. Will you be multitasking this weekend will you be positively multitasking this week?
No. No.
Will you be
I don't
doing
have
any?
much to do this weekend, actually.
Oh, I can change that.
I know. Yeah, I did my Cinderella duties yesterday morning. That means cleaning the house. That's okay. The only thing I need to worry about is feeding the family.
Which, of course, you can delegate. Yeah. Why should you do all the multitasking?
I can, but I'm not going to attempt it.
You're not going to attempt it.
No.
Okay. All right.
We
So
might end up having another barbecue under an umbrella.
you see, so we've categorized multitasking. So we've come to the conclusion that multitasking usually has a negative connotation to it because you're
Yes.
trying to do as much as possible in as least amount of time. Then we
Yes.
figured out that you can actually be positively multitasking.
Yes.
Um, and now I think we should look at spontaneous multitasking because
Mm, I have an idea about that. My problem is when I'm cleaning, let's say I usually start in my son's room. Um, he makes his bed, even though it doesn't look so good, so I will fix that. Then maybe, well, after spending 2 days sorting his room, it takes me 2 minutes to pack away his toys. And then maybe I would find something that doesn't belong there. Maybe he took some kitchen utensils, maybe he has a cup or a plate or something in his room that shouldn't be there. So I would take that to the kitchen. When I get to the kitchen, I see that, um, let's say the kitchen counter is dirty. So I would take a cloth and wipe the counter. And then I would remember, oh, but I'm actually busy in his room. Or maybe as I'm wiping the counter, I see, oh, there's something that needs to go to a different place. It's not in the right place. So I would take that to where it should be. And then when I get to that room, there's something else that needs to go to my son's room. So I'm a bit all over the place. I think that would be spontaneous because it's not planned, it just happens.
why does this sound so familiar to me?
And then you get distracted by different things or things that annoy you.
The perfect anecdote to that is just not do it. Yeah. So
But I can't leave it.
well, sorry to be so blunt about it, but that's your problem. Yeah.
The
You
truth.
know, I mean, is so let's take this little scenario. So your son, for reasons unbeknown to the rest of humanity, decides to take a plate into his room and totally forgets
Mhm.
about it,
Mm.
or probably thinks, well, I have a slave who'll do that. The plate will mysteriously disappear. Yeah. So so son goes about his way, and the plate is discovered by you, and you dutifully take it back into the kitchen. That's the first mistake.
Yes.
Take it back to the kitchen. And in the process, you see that another member of your family has graciously ignored your directive number 43/241 that kitchen counters must be cleaned and you at all times after use.
Yes.
At the at the risk of being beheaded, executed, tarred and feathered, and thrown into the rubbish, and going on strike. And you get distracted by that.
Yes.
I'm going to provoke you here. Is the world going to come to an end if Directive 45/231 is postponed by 2 minutes while you finish?
No, it won't. It won't come to an end. It's just that at that moment, at that time, and that place, I might feel a little bit annoyed with it, whatever's there.
You only feel a little bit annoyed. Okay.
Yes.
Um, well, let me.
Maybe so. The thing that annoys me the most is my son's toys in the kitchen. On the kitchen counters, well, sometimes he even puts them in the fridge. That annoys me because I feel that it shouldn't be there. Because when I want to cook or make sandwiches or whatever, it's in the way. Then I'm the one who has to take it away because he's either at school or he's still sleeping. Then I have to clean it. So toys in the kitchen annoys me a lot. Not just a little bit, a lot.
I think that's just the tip of the iceberg from what I'm gathering out.
um, we don't have a very big kitchen and we don't have a lot of counter space too. And then he would leave the things just lying around in the kitchen.
Okay, so I'm not going to defend your son because it's not my responsibility. But I know where the male contingency of your household is coming from, because I could be accused, and I am accused of doing the same thing. And let's move it away from the kitchen to the bathroom. So if I have an 8 o'clock appointment, then I go into the bathroom first.
Yes.
And then my mother, you can almost set your clock against it. My mother she has the bathroom from 7:22. Not 7:21, not 7:20, 7:22.
That's very particular.
Until about 8 o'clock.
Okay.
And that's reserved.
Yes.
Okay. So I will go into the bathroom at 6:45. And because it's winter and cold and so on, I do not pull up the shutters and I do not open the windows, because I know, my mother being 88 years old, blood circulation on the lower end of the scale, does not like to walk into a cold, drafty bathroom.
Yes.
Which is understandable, except that there are other members in this household whose names shall not be mentioned for strategic reasons, who jump up and down, and I get accused of not opening the windows, not pulling up the shutters, and it becomes a drama because mold will appear everywhere and it'll destroy the house within 30 seconds of this not happening.
Yes.
So something is highly dramatized when in actual fact it's 40 minutes, 20 minutes at most.
Yes.
I think I'm not defending the two men in your household. I'm not defending you. I'm just stating the bleeding obvious that we see things differently. We have a different. We have a different perspective on these things.
Yes.
And maybe it's the compromise or the education, depending on who it is. If it's your son, it's the education. If it's your husband, it's the compromise. I don't know. I'm just, yeah, but that's the way I'm trying to, or it's just, I'm just going to ignore it because.
I I try to ignore a lot of things. Just look past it, look away. But when I'm cleaning, I don't look past it and I can't ignore it because when I clean, everything should go back into its rightful place.
Because you like the structure. Yeah. I mean, there's a logical continuation there. Yeah, structure is
Yes.
everything. Yeah. And I get criticized for the same thing. So what do? The Tupperware. I refuse to put the Tupperware away in its place because it's complicated. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's put strategically. And if anybody wants to have a fight with the Tupperware, they're glad to do it. I am not going to do it. Yeah. So um what does this have to do with multitasking? Um,
I don't know. We
it,
drifted
it
off.
no. It actually has to do. It has to
Oh,
do
it's we were talking about the spontaneous multitasking.
exactly. Yeah. No, I had I was in a relationship once where this woman, she was the most intelligent thing that she said was, plan to be spontaneous. Yeah.
Yes.
So um, maybe you should just go with the flow and you find um um I don't know, I'm going to paint the extreme here. You find um a plate with a half-eaten sandwich on it in your son's room. Um and you could do one of two things. You could go jump up and down and get really angry, or you could go and say, well, he enjoyed only half of the sandwich. Would he like to? You can see this thing positively or negatively. I don't know. Yeah, but I think the serious thing here, I'm trying to be serious, is
Yeah.
that one thing leads to another.
Yes.
And do we really have to make, I mean, aren't there more important things in life or so on that we get upset by these little trivialities? I don't, I mean,
Well, I don't really get upset with the plate in his room, and I have to say most of the time he finished his sandwich. So
kudos to your
that
sandwich preparations. Yeah.
yes. So that's not the problem. It's just the distraction that it causes because then I take the plate to the kitchen, maybe along with a water bottle and a glass and whatever, but I take it to the kitchen and then I get distracted because then I see something else that's out of place. Or I take the dishes out of his room and put it in the kitchen. And then I think, okay, let's just go through the rest of the house, make sure that all the dishes are already in the kitchen. So I don't get upset by finding the dishes or glasses or coffee mugs in the rooms. Um, I get upset because it causes a distraction for myself.
Well, okay. So maybe you can give me some advice here. Yeah, because I have a problem in reverse. Yeah. So
Okay.
when we're going to stay with the kitchen. Um, so something will be cooked or planned,
Yes.
and all the ingredients will be on the kitchen counter, along with the necessary cookbook if it's required, open at the
Mm.
page. And this is maybe
Yes.
12 hours before the event of cooking will take place.
Okay.
Um, Something else will be prepared, and that's next to the counter, next to the first item on the counter. So to
Yes.
cut a very long story short, all free counter space will be occupied by something.
Okay.
And then I've got to do something and I've got nowhere to put anything. And I'm going back and forth thinking, where the hell can I do this? Yeah, everything has taken. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, how does one deal with that from your side? What's your advice to me?
I don't know
You're very
because I do it
diplomatic.
differently. I don't unpack everything that I want to cook. I just take it out of the cupboard or out of the fridge as I'm busy cooking.
Mm. Yes, very sensible. Yeah.
So take it out, use it, put it
Yeah.
back.
Okay. Right. So, so what conclusions have we come to regarding? So we've established that multitasking, there are three types of multitasking: positive, negative, and spontaneous
Yes.
multitasking. Each has their own set of rules and regulations.
Yes.
So we've just overcomplicated a really simple subject, haven't we?
Yes.
In,
I
in
think that
true
is
time.
because our brains have too many tabs open, almost
Mm.
like a search engine. Open this tab, that tab, the other tab. So we have too many tabs open somewhere.
Well,
And
I'm
then we overthink things, we overcomplicate things. We go off topic because we are busy multitasking in our heads as well.
well. I have to say, I am getting increasingly. Maybe I'm just getting old, but I'm getting increasingly frustrated with technology. So, as you know, I'm going to Frankfurt on Tuesday,
Yes.
and I'm taking the train. And so I downloaded the app for the German railway system because I can buy and pay for my online ticket.
Are you buying the whole train?
Yes, one for sale. Um, and I promptly got it wrong. Yeah,
Okay.
setting up this app was a job and a half. Then I booked the outbound journey, and then I booked the return journey, paid for it, and it's a special fare, so I have to take these trains. So when our client whom I'm meeting, I was just praying, they say, please don't change anything because I cannot take another train without buying a new ticket.
Yes.
Um, so I have to take these trains. Um, and I double checked and I realized that I'm going up on Tuesday and I booked a ticket coming back on Wednesday.
Oh dear.
And my wife was sitting next to me as I was having kittens on this one. And I just, look, you deal with it. Yeah. I cannot cope with this overcomplicated. So we figured out that we had a 3 hour window in which I could cancel the ticket. So I canceled and then rebooked it for but you really have to slow down and you read every line and you do everything.
I had a similar thing. There was, or there is, an application where you can get some freelance jobs to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I downloaded it and then it directed me to the app on my phone. And then you had to answer all these questions. You have to include all your personal information. And then after going through this whole process, you have to pay for it. um, so obviously I didn't pay and I deleted everything. But it was also very complicated because you think that, okay, I can do this on my laptop, I can enter, I can put all the information in that I need to and get it done. But then it directs you to your cell phone and then it's just one big mess. I don't know why they have to overcomplicate things.
Maybe they were multitasking again. So this is now, what is this? This is technological multitasking. So we've got another one on our list here. Um,
Yes.
because the people who develop these apps probably do not know anything about life.
Yes.
Yeah, as it happens, and it just
I think they know about life, but they don't consider the user experience.
oh, I love that word. Not yeah, yeah.
I want to enter my email address, enter the password, enter the application, find what I'm looking for, maybe apply or whatever, and carry on with my day.
While the milk's boiling over and the son's screaming for his lunch and
No, no,
everything else.
no. I want to take at least just 2 minutes to do this, finish this, and then I can start the
Oh,
milk.
okay. So this is your expectation. You just want something to be done in a couple of minutes so that you can get
Yes.
on with the rest of your life. But
As
they
simple
don't.
as buying a train ticket.
Oh, it's
You
not
want to
simple.
go into the app, add your information, your password, enter, choose the train, and pay, and there you have it.
Yeah.
Less than 2 minutes, but then it took you almost 3 hours.
Well, no, that's a bit extreme. And I think partly is I have a new phone, and I'm developing an aversion to it.
Mm.
It's overcomplicated, and I think that may be part of the problem, that we are forced to deal with overcomplicated things for whatever.
Overcomplicated applications and systems and all things.
And that eats into our lives. So we have to multitask just to stay on top of everything.
Yes.
There you go. Okay.
So just one last example. When I had to enter my son to school this year, I had to make copies of his birth certificate, his injections, the certificate from a hospital, all kinds of things. I had to make copies, copy of my ID, copy of my husband's ID, proof of address, all these kind of things. Then I had to take it to the police station to get certified. Then I had to take pictures of it. I had to go onto the website, complete the form there, but I already had a form from the school as well that I had to fill in by hand. So completed the online application, then loaded all the documentation that I just got certified from the police station. Then I had to take the documents with the application form, everything to my son's school. And then on Tuesday, when he went to school for the first day, I got the same application form that I had to complete and fill in and whatever that has to go back to school again. So basically, 3 applications for one child to go to school.
Why?
I don't know. You apply through the school, you apply through the Department of Education. This whole online thing seems to be something new. So you have to do it again if they go to high school. So that would be when he turns 14 or 15, when he goes to high school.
That just
So
wants to.
it's also a placement, like a whole placement thing. I don't know.
This kid just has to go to school.
Exactly.
You fill out you fill out a form, his name, his parents' name, emergency phone number, end of discussion. Why?
They want the address, they want the medical aid, they want allergies, they want like the person responsible to pay the account, the school fees, they want the emergency contact numbers, um, they want mom's information, dad's information, workplace, work numbers,
You
everything.
know, I just get,
It's worse than buying a car.
it kind of makes me think, we're moving away from you're innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty and you have to prove your innocence. Yeah.
Yes.
Talking about this. So I have here a piece of paper that the French government is doing a census this year.
Oh, that's interesting.
And we have to complete it by the 20th of January. We can do it online. And if we don't do it, then we'll get a visit from a person who will then probably indoctrinate us in person.
Okay.
And we have some personal codes and a password, and then we have an identifying number. I'm 0001, so I'm not 007, I'm 0001, etc., etc. And I really hate to think what this is going to be. Yeah. Um, the census of the population is easy. The population census is secure. it's an act of it's a civil duty, obligatory and free. God, I'd hate to think if they want money for it. I'm giving them God knows what they want to know. Laying my
Yes.
life bare to the French government so that they and pay for it anyway. So we've come to the conclusion that life is overly complicated, which leads us to having to multitask just to keep on top of
Yes.
things.
Yes.
So I know the perfect solution, and it fits right up your alley.
What is the solution?
They're sparking in the background. No, the solution is to walk away from all of this, go into the bush, and sit in the bush.
Well, at the moment, not the bush. For obvious reasons.
It's a bit wet. It's a bit wet, yes.
It's a bit wet, and you might get washed away, or your chair gets washed away.
Right.
But I agree.
You're depressing me now. I thought I had the perfect solution. Now that's not going to work. All right. Okay.
In a couple of weeks, that will work, but not at the moment.
Oh yes, but I may not be around in a couple of weeks. I might, have, snuffed it, gone to the, big multitasking gods in the sky.
Yes.
Okay. You have the last word. Peeling Potatoes 32.
I think that I would like to have a couple of red cards to hand out to multitasking, like they do in the rugby games. So you get yellow cards where they sit out for 10 minutes. You get red cards where it can be 20 minutes or like suspension for 2 or 3 games. So maybe change it to 2 or 3 weeks. So when you don't feel happy with the task, you give it a red card.
Are you trying to tell me something?
Later.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
So instead of ignoring it, you raise your protest and say, so I'm just sort of putting this into a domestic issue. Yeah. So
like toys in the kitchen, red card. Suspended for the rest of the year. You can make your rules as you go. Food and drinks in the bedrooms, red card, 2 weeks.
2 weeks, no food. Yeah.
No food in the bedrooms. You can have your food in the kitchen.
Okay. Okay. I'm not going to suggest this in our household because it might work against me.
Well, it might probably come back to me as well.
Okay. There you go. So I don't know what conclusions our 3 listeners will have taken from our conversation, but basically, have I come out the wiser? Not really. We have to live with it.
Stuck on multitasking.
So, well, thank you for enlightening me.
I don't think I did anything. But it's my pleasure anyway.
We'll try again next week. Yeah.
Yes.
See where we come.
See if we can get to the end of the multitasking.
muddle our way through. Anyway, I'm going to read the articles in the Pineapple. I've got to go. All right. Okay. Thank you for one of our fantastic,
my pleasure,
inconclusive discussions.
Yes. We'll leave it hanging.
Yeah. Well, you always leave me hanging. Yeah. The story of my life. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I just mean or not. Okay. See you next week.
Take care.